Hey, what's poppin', boys, girls, and everybody in between and otherwise. My name's Adri, and welcome back to LifeHatesAdri. Now today, we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. Now before any of you ask what the hell this is or anything, hi, I got a new microphone because the one on my camera does not record all that well. So yeah, you're going to be seeing this little ugly thing here until a long time. It sucks. Enjoy it. So yeah. Anyways, let's get right into this creepy conspiracy video. Now, the first conspiracy theory is that the government, and specifically the US government, is making its citizens sick and keeping them sick. A good example of this is the fluoridation of American cities' water supplies. Now, if you don't know what fluoridation is, it's basically adding fluoride into the water. Okay? Makes sense. However, this is a mainly American thing. 97% of Europe and all of Japan hasn't fluoridated water, or hasn't recently. Fluoridation came out during a time when some things like asbestos and other carcinogenic materials were allowed. As we know, asbestos is awful. Like, it sucks. It's not good. It can cause, I think, like tuberculosis and cancer in the lungs. And yeah, it's not good. You don't want it. Fluoride came out during a time when asbestos was accepted. But asbestos has since been recalled. Why hasn't fluoride? Now, people may be thinking, well, it's for health benefits. As we know, fluoride is in toothpaste, so it helps with tooth decay. And while that is true, this is a different type of fluoride. This is hydrofluoric acid. I said that very differently than where I got my notes from. The girl in the video that I got my notes from said many more S's than that, but bear with me. Hydrofluoric acid is a byproduct from the fertilizer industry. The freaking fertilizer industry. Do you get that's going in the water? In fact, even the ADA, the American Dental Association, has said putting fluoride in the water is not worth the health risks that come along with it. Now, the whole reason that they put fluoride in the water in the first place is because it came from things like the aluminum industry. Basically, in the 40s to 50s, the aluminum industry was paying cities to take its waste and fluoride. When making aluminum, the gaseous fluoride would pass up through the pipes, and then they'd collect it, and instead of it going into the air, it goes into the water, which they'd pay cities to take. Now, the government was then making money from this, so they obviously wanted to do it, and they said, well, it's fluoride, whatever. In 1947, a man named Oscar Ewing, who was an attorney for the biggest aluminum company in America at that time, was appointed to oversee public health and safety in America. Well, maybe he's cutting ties with his aluminum company. Maybe he's not in that anymore. Maybe he genuinely wants to see the public health grow. He didn't. His first law that was passed was to fluoridate water. Like, come on. Put two and two together. Let's go. Now you might be thinking, well, okay, it sucks. Fluoride isn't good for us, but does that mean it's bad? Well, yes. Overexposure to fluoride can actually cause something called fluorosis. Fluorosis is the decay of tooth enamel. Also, the fluoride that we intake is only 50% expelled by our body. That means 50% of the fluoride that we intake, or Americans intake from the water, is still in their body. That means it's getting absorbed by the tissues and the bones. Another thing was that 18 medical studies, including Harvard Medical School, has found that overexposure to fluoride lowers IQ levels. I'm about to make a new conspiracy theory. I have a theory that Donald Trump is intentionally putting fluoride in waters, or putting more fluoride in waters, so that he makes the population stupider, so that he wins for a re-election. Boom, conspiracy theory. Suck my dick, Donald Trump. Another point to add is that the US Public Health Service has actually found fluoride to be lethal in overexposure. In long-term overexposure, it is literally lethal. It will kill you, and they're putting it in why? The FDA doesn't even classify it as a nutrient. It classifies it as a drug. They're putting a drug in the water, and they're not letting people have a choice about it. They're just doing it. I'm never, ever going to say this again, but I'd like to believe that Alex Jones warned everybody. And if you're wondering, who's that? Well,
I'm like, oh, shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
Now, these are just a few ways that people think the American government is keeping and making its citizens sick. They also think that the chemtrails behind airplanes, those little clouds behind the airplanes, are actually polluting the air with toxins to kill its citizens, or not kill, but make sick. And they also put GMOs in our foods. GMOs are paid for by genetically modified organism companies who are saying, hey, can you put this in the foods? We promise it's good. They're lying. GMOs are not that good for you. Not only that, America is one of the only countries in the world where it lets pharmaceutical companies advertise drugs on television. If somebody needs a referral for a drug, shouldn't they go to the doctor rather than seeing it for themselves on TV? And not to mention the fact that numerous pharmaceutical companies have paid off doctors so many times to prescribe their drug, even when it's not needed. Now here's the big theory. The big theory is that big corporations are paying the US government to do things that benefit them. Basically, they're saying, hey, we'll pay you to use our product, to sell our product, to take our waste, even if it harms your citizens. And the US government says, oh, fuck yeah, I'll do that, heck yeah. Like, that's basically what's happening right now. Now, the second theory that we have is the moon landing in 1969 by the US is actually faked. I've seen this theory many times, and you probably have too. But you're like, well, why do people think it's fake? How do they think it's fake? Let me tell you. If you look in the background of the moon landing photo, you'll see no stars in the lunar sky. Now, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so shouldn't you be able to see the stars better all the time? Another piece of evidence is that if you look online, you can find videos of the American flag waving on the moon. The moon doesn't have an atmosphere, it doesn't have wind, doesn't have air. How is it waving? Please enlighten me. And, not to mention, that astronauts should not have been able to get through the Van Allen radiation belts. If you don't know what the Van Allen radiation belts are, it's basically like literal belts that surround the Earth full of radiation, full of lethal radiation. They had to get there and back from the moon without having lethal doses of radiation. They should have experienced enough radiation to die, but clearly they lived. Now, people might be thinking, oh, but the US didn't have the technology at the time. Well, NASA is a government-funded company. And who gets first dibs on the technology? The government. The army. Everything funded by the government gets first dibs on new technology. And the fact that the US was decades ahead of the USSR into their technology field means that they could have easily done this and no one would have noticed. Because the average person wasn't that knowledgeable about Photoshop at the time. But now they are, which is why they're speculating it could be fake. You might be thinking, why would they do this? Well, if you don't know, during the time the US and the USSR, which is now known as Russia, were having a space race during the Cold War. The US desperately wanted to win that space race, so why not just fake it? Why not boost morale of their country during a Cold War? And if you think this isn't a big deal, they can lie about a major event such as the first moon landing. What else could they be lying about? Now, side note, I don't believe in all of these conspiracy theories. There's some that I do, some of them I don't. I do think they landed on the moon, but that's just my opinion. The final theory that I'm going to talk about is aliens. Now, not just that aliens exist, which I firmly believe. It's that aliens are already here. The government knows about it. They just don't want anyone else to know. Let's go back to June 2nd, 1947, in Roswell, New Mexico. A UFO, which stands for Unidentified Flying Object, that doesn't mean it's a spacecraft, just means it's not identified, has crashed into Roswell, New Mexico. Now, everybody was like, what the hell is this? What is this? What is this? The government was like, oh, it's a weather balloon from the Air Force, don't worry. Later, it was found out that it was actually something from a nuclear testing program. If the government lied once about what it was, why can't they lie again? A lot of people speculate that it was actually an alien spacecraft, and that they wanted to get rid of it and hide it and test on it as fast as they can. Now, this next story comes from the Sunspot Solar Observatory. The Sunspot Solar Observatory typically just observes the sun with a telescope. However, one day, out of nowhere, a bunch of FBI agents secretly came into this town, evacuated the observatory for no reason, and didn't tell anybody, and they closed it for days. They didn't tell anybody why. Even the local sheriff had no idea why they were doing this. Why would they be so secretive about what people can see at an observatory? What could they see in outer space? Aliens that are close to us specifically. So clearly, the government knows aliens exist. And I'm not even going to mention Area 51, because that shit's just creepy. I mean, nobody can see inside. Everyone's basically told that don't share any stories from Area 51. Well, why? What are you hiding there? Now, I don't know about you, but that truly makes me believe that the government knows or has aliens. And if you're not convinced about that, you are stupid to think that aliens don't exist. Think about it. Do you have any idea how big our observable known universe is? It is so goddamn massive. It would be ignorant and stupid to think that we're the only forms of life that can exist in it. I mean, how is that even possible? They could be out there. They're most likely out there. But how do we know that they're not already here? How do we know that they're in the shape of you and I? Now, for anyone asking me to do a theory on the flat earth, hell fucking no. I refuse. That is the one conspiracy theory that I cannot stand. Oh my god. I'm literally gonna make a video debunking the flat earth theory because it's not true. It's just, I will pay for a physicist to come in. I don't care. I hate that theory with all of my heart. If anyone asks me to do it, no. Just no. Yeah, I hope you liked that video today. I don't know when the next video is coming out. I'll try to make it come out as soon as possible. This video was actually supposed to be out last week, but you see, my camera was really shitty and the microphone was really shitty, so I didn't get to doing it. Okay, cool. Anyways, all of my social medias are in the description box below. Go spam me, go stalk me, do whatever you want on them. I don't care. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week-ish.